Oh, how I want an Lange Söhne. Oh, how an Lange Söhne continues to evade me. Flying this close to perfection has its price to pay, however, and that's quite literally the price you have to pay for an Lange Söhne. Excellent they are, cheap they are not, and no amount of feeling like you'd really appreciate it more than anything else in the world makes that RRP come down any lower. But can you scratch that itch for a fraction of the cost? We start with the Lange Söhne on the most likely to be realistically achieved list because, well, it's the cheapest. Weighing in at nearly £14,000, however, the Saxonia Thin isn't actually cheap, but it is a demonstration of just how good simplicity can be. Even with an almost blank dial and a 3/4 plate hand-wound movement, the Saxonia Thin is a masterclass of skill in detail. Its simplicity, in fact, leaves nothing to hide behind, each and every component proudly wearing its hand finishing, unencumbered by clutter and chaos. It's a hard act to follow for the same budget, let alone for some 15% of it, but nevertheless, that's what Nomos is striving to achieve with the Orion. We've seen what Nomos can do with our Lange Söhne budgets with the Lambda collection. Now let's see what the brand down the road can do with change from £2,000. You would naturally assume that a watch at this price point would be carrying someone else's movement, and that assumption makes the Orion's Alpha Caliber the perfect place to start. While the Alpha Caliber may be based on the long discontinued Peso 7001, that doesn't mean what that would normally mean, where the manufacturer receives the caliber in whole or in parts and scrawls its name on it. No, Nomos actually produces this movement from scratch. The company spent a lot of money developing this capability, and the Alpha is the result. The rest of the Orion's not half bad either. You can tell it was built a few doors down from our Lange Söhne by how German it is, trading flair for finesse and grandiosity for grace. It's got everything it needs and not a mote more, just like the Saxonia Thin. And yet, despite the similarities, it somehow manages to have a unique identity all of its own. Pencil-thin hands and marker skim, a gently curving silver dial, the pebble-like caseback profile and extended lugs keeping the watch snug to the wrist, and, well, that's pretty much it. Does it give you a taste of the Saxonia experience? I think it does. We have to be realistic, of course, but still the level of fit and finish sits above the expected for this price point, and the unique movement crafted in-house takes it up yet another notch. Mirrored on Glashütte and engraved German silver balance cock it does not have, but a unique sense of personality with a firm hold on its home and heritage it very much does. To be honest, if you're a fan of German watches and already have an Lange Söhne, I'd wager that you should probably get yourself one of these as well. The Lange Söhne 1815 Chronograph isn't so much a watch as it is an experience. It's the difference between having a pet dog and a pet honey badger, like watching Top Gun and buzzing the tower in an F-14 Tomcat for real. The Lange Söhne has a chronograph, but are you really going to use it? Only to watch the Caliber L9 51.5 doing its thing. I'd bet this watch could actually lose the functionality of telling the time and it would still be just as appealing. Accuracy is as relevant to this watch as the need for a Monet to hide a stain on the wall. You'd be pretty out of it to think that an experience like this could be anywhere close to replicated for around 1/10 of the price. Some might even call you mad and have the men in white coats sent to get you. But like US Marshal Teddy Daniels found out in the Martin Scorsese thriller Shutter Island, the truth isn't always what it seems, because fellow resident of Germany, Glashütte Original, and its Senator Chronograph has something to say about the whole thing, thank you very much. Okay, sensible hat on. You're not getting an 1815 chronograph for Oyster Perpetual money here, but you are going to get an in-house German chronograph watch that's worth every bit the entrance fee. Back before the war, the German brands were all amalgamated into one government-controlled group, and when A. Lange Söhne was finally able to split away again, Glashütte Original was formed from what was left, so there's a great deal of know-how and expertise going on here. The balanced twin subdial layout is immediately recognisable from its A. Lange Söhne counterpart, but like the Nomos, the Senator Chronograph executes its design in a wholly individual way. The step case is sportier and chunkier than its neighbours in this 44mm XL guise, loom-tipped hands and markers boosting its usability from Sunday best to weekday wear. As for the caliber 39, well, you wouldn't expect a hand-wound chronograph like the A. Lange Söhne's, but you do still get an in-house, well-finished movement with all the hallmarks of its German descent: swan neck regulator, 21-karat gold rotor weight, and mirrored beveling, a flavour of the life an 1815 chronograph owner leads. The only difference is, you don't need a mortgage to lead it. It's a signature look from A. Lange Söhne we leave for last, the Asymmetric Long One, one of the brand's most recognisable and daring watches to date. Whether it works for you or not, there's no saying that the German brand doesn't try and do things a bit differently when you're presented with a watch that looks like it was designed with a spirograph. It's amazing, really, after all these centuries of watchmaking, that we can still be surprised, and the Lange One does just that. The appeal is strong, but unfortunately so is the price, and that leads us to our third and final alternative entry, again from the former conjoined twin, Glashütte Original. I think the brand would have a hard time refuting influence from the Lange One, covering off everything from the PanoReserve to the big date on the mishmash dial. There's as much plausible deniability here as there would be swapping the White Album's records around and calling it new. But that's exactly why we're here, to experience the unexperienceable, to attain the unattainable, and the Glashütte Original PanoReserve does exactly that, and probably more so than any of the others we've investigated so far. I mean, check out that caliber 6501. It's a hand-wound movement with screwed gold chatons, gold inlaid engraving. For crying out loud, where the Lange One gets one engraved balance cock, the PanoReserve gets two. It's as German as a Bratwurst wearing lederhosen that's arrived bang on time. Were Glashütte Original not based just down the road from A. Lange Söhne, perhaps the mimicry would be a step too far, but considering that the alternative is no German Lange One alike at all, I think we can let it slide. The attention to detail in the PanoReserve and overall respect for quality is also a saving grace, offering a true sense of what it's like to wear and enjoy a Lange One for less than the price of a no-date Submariner. It's the closest of the three you'll come to the A. Lange Söhne experience, and although we all really know that there are leagues between it and the original, it's still a superb and satisfying distraction from not being able to afford the Lange One. There's no alternative for the masterpiece that is an A. Lange Söhne watch, but there's also no alternative payment than cold, hard cash, and so it's with a grateful heart that we appreciate these substitutes from fellow Germans Nomos and Glashütte Original. Sure, they may not be the full enchilada, but truly they are excellent watches in their own right. It's either that, or it's time to start harvesting some organs. Or exceptional watches at Watchfinder. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If there are any other watches you'd like to see reviewed, please let us know in the comments below.